everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hidden Gems Podcast. This is where we like to take on a streaming service and tell you some hidden gems that you can watch on that service. And it's a lot of fun. I always enjoy doing it, especially during this time of year. So many festive films to watch. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Ryan is here.
Hey, Rachel. It's great to be back with you once again. And I feel like I'm in the presence of royalty right now because you got a pretty big announcement just today. Like before we went on to record this.
Well, not all the details aren't all there, but yeah, I'm going to be attending the Hollywood Critics Association Awards evening awards presentation, and I'm not sure exactly what else I'll be doing, but I get to write the essay for Tick Tick Boom, which I'm so excited about. There's some really, really great people that are writing essays for the HCA, including Dan Murrell and people like that. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting.
I am not worthy. I am not worthy. No, seriously though, that sounds amazing. I'm really happy for you. They couldn't have picked a better person.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And I get to just gush about Tick Tick Boom. So that's always going to be a good day in my life. So
should be a pretty easy paycheck for you then.
Yeah. So how have things been for you? We didn't have an episode last week because of Movie Nerds Club and having to watch 5 million Christmas movies and awards movies. It was tough. I was watching like 6 movies a day. Like
Hallmark's low-key mission to try and kill Rachel with Christmas.
And this last week, I crossed the 100 Christmas movie mark. So I've watched 100 new Christmas movies this year. So and there'll be more. Last year was 115 was my number, and I think I'll pass that for sure.
You know, when I was preparing for my 25 reviews of Christmas, I'm thinking to myself, oh, my load's pretty big, but not according to Rachel. That's like an appetizer.
So, yeah. But what are we talking about this week for Hidden Gems?
Well, before we get into that, things are going pretty well on my end. I've got the 25 reviews of Christmas going. I've been having a lot of fun doing that. Got a big Home Alone collab video coming up, so that's going to be fun. Just wrapped up a Matrix collab with another person. I'm just all over the place. I'm a 3-time trivia champion, soon going to be 4 when this video gets released or this podcast gets released. I'm hopefully going to be a 4-time Suit Up Geeks trivia champion. We got the Spider-Man trivia coming up, which is going to be just a complete bloodbath, but it's going to be fun. I'm going to go in there to have fun, and it's all going to work out.
And I'm wearing my Spider-Man shirt.
Part of a balanced breakfast.
Yes. See, there's Green Goblin.
Oh, that is excellent. Where did you get that?
I got it for one of my loot crates that I had years ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, Today we are covering Paramount Plus in honor of, I want to get the name right, Christmas Proposal?
Yes, we'll be talking about it more coming up. But yeah, we'd only done Paramount Plus twice before, and I feel like they have upped their game. I feel like the last time we were really struggling to come up with enough for our 5 picks, and this I didn't have that problem this time.
Especially episode 2, for me, it was like, it seems like I have enough for 4, but this time around, it's like I had a couple ones where like, should I or should I not? And that's like the best kind of preparation. Yeah,
because most of their stuff that I could pick on Paramount Plus was like really popular, so it wasn't like a hidden gem. I'm not going to pick like Wrath of Khan as a hidden gem. That doesn't count. So it was tough. And you know, something like Survivor, which I love so much, is not really a hidden gem. It's very popular. So yeah, it was challenging. But yeah, I felt like, oh, they have more. They've added more movies for sure since we last did it.
It also helps that they released Quiet Place Part 2 If my memory serves me right, they released it in theaters and straight to Paramount Plus, or was there a
I
waiting
think there
period?
was like a 45, 30, something like that delay. There was a certain delay. But yeah, pretty quickly on, they released it onto Paramount Plus. It wasn't same day, I don't think,
Which I thought was a pretty
but I'm not
smart
sure.
idea. Not to mention that Quiet Place 2 is excellent, but just
Yeah,
add a little
love
more
that movie.
spice to it and all.
Very good. Yeah, yeah, I agree. All right. Well, I guess we just dive in. And I'm going to start with the one that made me want to do it. It's a movie called A Christmas Proposal. And this is an example of you can take a formula, and if you execute it well, that's all you need to do, right? You don't need to reinvent the wheel every time when it comes to a movie. And this is a movie that we've seen a lot of times before, but I thought it was so charming. It's a fake relationship story. It's which I love, but it's about this woman who's an Uber driver, and she takes this client to his house, and through various conferences she ends up pretending that she's his girlfriend for his family, and ends up spending the whole weekend there. And it was so charming. I really enjoyed it. And it was just all done so well. And they had such great chemistry, and it was funny. And I was really happy when they get together in the end. And yeah, it's a really good movie. I very much enjoyed it. I liked the stars were
Adam Adam Rodriguez and Jessica Camacho.
yes, and they were great. They had really good chemistry. I'm not that familiar with them, but I liked them both so much. And yeah, this was just a really fun movie.
Oh, well, this was directed by Martin Wood, who directed Operation Christmas Drop, which I did not see, but I remember covering on my, yours, and Jessica Chandler's first All the Rest Christmas special, like a
Oh
million
yeah.
years ago, aka December 2020, which I call a million years ago. But and it
Yeah,
was also
he's done a lot of Hallmark movies, and he knows what he's doing. He knows his job.
also When Comes the Heart.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, he knows his lane very well. And I just thought they had really nice chemistry, and I thought the script was well done. And it wasn't one of those ones where I don't know, where they take it too seriously, because it's obviously so ridiculous, these plots of these fake fiancés, fake relationships, that you have to take it with sort of a grain of salt, and just have fun with it. And when they take it too seriously, then it kind of ruins the fun. But this didn't. It didn't take itself too seriously. So anyway, I loved it. I thought it was great. So what is your first pick?
So my first pick, and starting off with the hard left pretty early in this one. So my first pick is from 2002, and I had to check to see if I had recommended this before, and I think I had brought it up, but I had never recommended it before, and I decided that I was going to change that. I'm going to be recommending Minority Report, and this is not because Steven Spielberg has a new movie out, but it's just that I really, really enjoyed this movie, and this was one of those that I watched in high school as part of film class, and you know, watching a movie like this, and especially watching it through like a 2021 like lens, you kind of see just how just how advanced and not exactly in a good way it kind of feels. Like, basically, the basic plot is that in the near future, there's a division of the police called pre-crime. They use these or actually these twins, my apologies, to predict when crimes will happen. And when they get a precog, they see who's going to do it, who is on the business end of it, where and when. They go, they find this person, they take him into custody and put him on ice, like almost literally. However, the leader of pre-crime, played by Tom Cruise, finds out that one of the precogs is meant for him. He is meant to kill a man who he has never met before in his life. And so I think the movie was way ahead of its time because it predicted touch screens. I mean, literally everything has a touch screen nowadays, and And everywhere you see a Minority Report, there is a touchscreen. There's security cameras everywhere. And it weirdly kind of predicted some of the worst tendencies of social media, and that is well above my pay grade, but let's just say Minority Report is scarily accurate in certain aspects that I will not go into here. This movie is also helped by the fact that it's directed by Spielberg, who is comfortably in the greatest of all time conversation. Tom Cruise is one of the best action stars ever, in my opinion. Like he goes from complex to very action heavy in the movie, and it works out great. Colin Farrell's in this, and he's good as well. This is one of those movies, like I said, I think it I think if this were directed by anyone else, no one would really know about it, but it's directed by Spielberg, and so it at least is like not like unpopular, but people at least know about it. If this were directed by anyone else, no one would really be talking about
I think you mentioned it in one of our best of episodes, whether it was Colin Farrell or Tom Cruise, I can't remember.
it. That's
But and I think you said that they like shot it in really extreme lighting or something like that.
they bleached the film negative. They literally
Yeah.
took the negative and they dipped it in bleach so that when you watch the movie, it looks like the film looks very bleached out with very like muted colors and bright brights well and they literally took the negative, they dipped it in there and then they put it back. So it has a very unique look.
Yeah. I feel like it is one that you don't really hear talked about as much as far as Steven Spielberg's films, even though it was, nominated for Best Picture and is, most people really like it. I like it. It's very, very good. And it's such an immersive film as far as the setting, and it just feels different from most of Spielberg's output.
It also isn't helped that the fact that Spielberg is comfortably considered one of the greatest. I mean, and he has the filmography to prove it. I mean, the man released Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in the
Yeah,
same
unbelievable.
year. Like that is God tier right there.
Yeah. And he has such variety in his movies. I mean, everything from
Hmm.
Catch Me If You Can, Minority Report, to something like The Color Purple, which is totally different.
Hmm.
And I don't think that many directors can really swing so many different ways and so many different styles.
Yeah, and I'm actually a fan of and kind of a defender of more of his later work. Like Ready Player One, there's a good chunk of people who are like, that movie's not good. I'm like, okay, I can
Yeah.
understand, but it was a blast. I had a great time. Like Bridge
I
of
mean,
Spies, I like Bridge of Spies, and those are two completely different movies. Bridge of Spies is a spy thriller, and Ready Player One is this loud and over the top action movie.
yeah, I'm not a Bridge of Spies fan, but yeah, he has many later ones that I do enjoy. Like I love War Horse. I think that's really good.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good stuff.
And I mean, I liked The Post. I thought that was good. And that was like a smaller movie that he did. So yeah, he's still got it. And I loved West Side Story. I thought it was great.
And I have not seen it yet. It was a particularly busy weekend. However, I will, as a West Side Story fan, be watching it eventually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very good. That's a good pick. So my next pick is another Christmas pick, and it's A Christmas Carol, but this is from 1984. This was actually made for television, but it's very sumptuously mounted, very well made. It's a traditional version of Christmas Carol with George C. Scott as our Ebenezer Scrooge, and he does a really good job with Scrooge. I mean, I kind of laughed at why he has a British accent as a young man and as a child, but all of a sudden talks like George C. Scott in as an adult. But nevertheless, other than that, it's really good, and it's pretty accurate to the book. And I love Christmas Carol so much. So this is a very good version, I would say.
I will always be there for George C. Scott. It doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what type of genre. You tell me George C. Scott is in something, I will stop and watch it.
Yeah, and David Warner plays Cratchit, And you'd see him in a lot of different movies, but he was in Tron kind of famously.
Yeah.
So,
Also famous for being in the original Wicker Man was Edward Woodward, and
oh yeah.
he would also be Robert McCall, the Equalizer, in the original
Mm-hmm.
Equalizer TV show. So there's a lot of like character actors in here, and yes,
Yeah.
I have seen this version and have quite enjoyed it. My favorite is still the 51 with Alistair Sim. That can never be topped in my opinion. However,
Mm.
this comes in pretty close.
Yeah, the Alistair Sims, that version, it has a little bit more of a goofy kind of. He was a comedic actor, and so it, especially at the end with Crazy Scrooge, you kind of get that. Whereas George C. Scott is more of there's no like sarcasm in his performance. It's more of a mean Scrooge performance, and you kind of have to decide which way you're going to go. Like the Jim Carrey one definitely goes mean Scrooge. Then other ones, there's sort of a winking kind of nature. Michael Caine is more of the winking kind of nature of Scrooge. So yeah, it's a very good classic version of this story. If that's what if you're not wanting sort of a new fresh take, if you want the classic story, then the 1984 Christmas Carol is a good way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And certainly I had it very high in my TV movie ranking that I did a while back. This and the Patrick Stewart one I think are excellent. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have next?
So my next choice is a movie from 1986. Got my year right. Starred Rodney Dangerfield and it's called Back to School. This was a movie that my dad showed me, and I was kind of going into this thinking, "Am I going to like this?" And this movie's so funny. It tells the story of a businessman played by Dangerfield who is essentially a used car salesman. He's kind of a huckster, if you will. But his son wants to go to college and get on the straight and narrow. And so, to help him out, Dangerfield enrolls in college to try and help him. And well, hilarity ensues. There's a lot of 80s conventions here. There's the snooty teacher who is not amused by these over the top antics. You got the teacher who Dangerfield really takes a liking to, and by the end they end up happily ever after. But I don't know, there's something about this movie that I just really like, and I found to be really funny. Maybe it's because of Dangerfield himself, who was just a comedy legend, but I really I just get a kick out of this. And it also stars a very young Robert Downey Jr., who of course we know as Iron Man and Sherlock Holmes, among other things, had a career renaissance. However, back then he was just Robert Downey Jr. from Back to School, and he would go on to be in movies like Chaplin and star in things like Ally McBeal, but everybody knows him rightly as Iron Man. So it's weird going back to seeing him as Iron Man and then seeing him in like Chaplin or these other things and thinking to yourself, wow, this guy had a career before Iron Man. It's a little weird, but it's also good at the same time. Ultimately, this movie is not rated R. However, there are definitely some vulgar parts, so I do recommend looking out for that. However, on the whole, I think this movie's really funny.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I've never seen it. So, I mean, I like uh oh wait, no, that's not Rodney Dangerfield. I was gonna say. But yeah, I that sounds funny. I mean, I don't think have I seen a movie with Rodney Dangerfield? I I think I don't know if I have. Yeah, so I was gonna say he's in Caddyshack, but
Yes.
but then I doubted it for a second. Yeah, he's in Caddyshack.
4! I should have
Okay.
yelled 2!
So I have seen Caddyshack and I enjoyed that. That was very funny. But yeah, I haven't seen this. So that sounds good. Very cool. All right. Well, my next pick is I guess you'd say a hidden gem, depending on how old you are in this. This thing. We're talking about Paw Patrol, the movie, and that was from 2021. And this is a spinoff, I guess, or a movie of the television show, the popular television show for little kids. And I think this does a really good job. I, as somebody who had never seen an episode of Paw Patrol, I know nothing about it. I thought it did a good job of making a sweet little movie for very young children. This is, you're talking your toddlers, like little kindergartners. You know, this is for little kids, and basically it's about the Paw Patrol gang. They have to go to Adventure City, and the mayor there is like out of control, causing all kinds of chaos. And the Chase dog doesn't want to go to Adventure City because he was kind of abandoned there. So he has like bad feelings that he has to deal with. There's also this girl dog that really wants to be a member of the Paw Patrol and was very sweet. I can't remember her name, but yeah. And this is just a simple little cute story for little kids.
I seem to remember there, I and it could be just me misremembering, but was there some kind of like controversy surrounding this? Like, do you know?
Well, I just know that that a lot of people were really shocked by the fact that it had such a high Rotten Tomato score, and also because I guess maybe a little controversy in the sense that some people don't like the idea of police characters being portrayed for kids. You know, because some people, you know, want to get rid of the police or whatever, and so like a Paw Patrol, but I think most people thought that was pretty silly.
Yeah, it's just a kids movie. I mean
Well,
this.
it's dogs. It's not real police. Like I guess I could understand that more when you're talking about like if it was a show about human police officers. These are doggies in a fictional world called Adventure City. So calm down.
Yeah, this isn't In the Heat of the Night, y'all. It's Paw Patrol the movie. Like,
That's
get some perspective.
exactly. Yeah, it's just a cute little movie for little kids. They will love it, and it has a nice message about, you know, standing up for yourself and being strong, and you know that they all support each other and help Chase to get over his insecurities, I guess. And yeah, so there you go. Paw Patrol the movie is fun. So what do you have next?
So up next for me, this is, I guess, hard left number two, going from Paw Patrol the movie to a Michael Bay movie. Now I know some of you are going to be like, Ryan, where are you going with this? This is actually a good Michael Bay movie. It's 13 hours. You know, I remember hearing that this movie was coming out, and people are going to be like, Michael Bay's directing a Benghazi movie. Uh-oh. But this was about 1,000 times better than I think anyone could have anticipated. And yeah, this is a Benghazi movie. If you followed the news around that time, you know exactly what happens here. However, I think I'm more of a Michael Bay defender than others. I get why people don't like him and completely understand. It's not like you don't understand the genius. No, I'm perfectly capable of seeing why people wouldn't like him. However, I give him the benefit of the doubt sometimes, maybe to my own dismay. Pain and Gain is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but I do give him the benefit of the doubt sometimes. I gave him the benefit of the doubt with 13 Hours, and it was actually pretty good. At least, for nothing else, John Krasinski. He is awesome in the movie. And I think this was around the time when people were like, this guy's not just Jim from The Office. Like, he can actually do some solid work. And I think with this and like Jack Ryan, he's kind of being typecast as like this agent guy now, which I have no problem with, but I think he's got to do like something else now to just kind of break the mold, like outside a Quiet Place. But all that I will say is that even if you're not exactly a Bay fan, and there are plenty of you, I'm sure, I recommend giving this one a chance. It's not as bad as you expect. It's not as political as you might think. It's an action movie set around the template of the events of Benghazi. So take of that what you will. I give it a modest recommendation.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed this one too. I think that it is definitely one of the best, if not the best, Michael Bay movie to certainly since The Rock, for him. And I would way rather watch something like this than those Transformers movies. That's for sure. And
Especially after Age of Extinction, this was a breath of fresh air. It's like
yeah,
finally we get
yeah,
something other than this. And I'm hoping his new ambulance movie is good because I've seen the trailer for it and it looks pretty solid. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it's actually good.
yeah. I mean, and this is definitely very loud, very big,
Hmm.
as far as sort of the action set pieces. And some people might think that's in poor taste. I don't know, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was very captivating, and I think that if it didn't have Michael Bay on there, if it had, I don't know, David Fincher or somebody like that on, not that it would be the same movie with that director, but I'm just saying if it had a director that sort of is more accepted in certain circles, I think that it would have better better reviews. I really do. I think that people sometimes have a hard time letting go when they've declared publicly this guy's a hack. Then they
Yeah.
can't like say, oh, okay, maybe not. Maybe I actually did like this. And sometimes they don't like it. That's fine too. But I do think that other thing exists. I think that's a thing, and I mean, I felt it sometimes with Shyamalan, and his
Mhm.
movies have been so terrible that I do go into it kind of expecting that it probably won't be for me, but I try to be objective as possible,
Yeah.
and if he makes a movie that I like, then I'm more than happy to admit it. But he has a higher hill to climb. Let's put it that way, and
Yeah.
I think sometimes that's the case with this movie and Michael Bay.
My holy trinity of the three directors that I defend but acknowledge that they've made some not so great movies are Zack Snyder, Michael Bay, and M. Night Shyamalan. Because Shyamalan made Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Signs, and I know there's people who really don't like Signs. I do. I think it's really good, and Split and others. But wow, like Happening, The Last Airbender, which is heavy contender for the worst movie I've ever seen, and After Earth, it's just wow, those were not good. And Michael Bay, he's got two movies in the Criterion Collection, but he also has Pain and Gain, which is just awful, one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and Transformers 2 and 4, which are just like want to take my fingers and stick them two knuckles deep into my eye sockets afterwards. And then
Yeah,
Zack Snyder, who I frequently defend in the DCU reasonably. I'm not one of those types. I'm a reasonable defender. However, he's also made Sucker Punch, which outside of the soundtrack was just a mishmash of just ideas. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
my three. Those are my holy trinity of directors I rush to the defense of, knowing full well that they have made crap in the past. Copyright and trademark.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I have, I can't think of off the top of my head, at least that person that I'm like, everyone hates this person, but I actually like, yeah, I don't know, their movies. I guess maybe just in general, romantic comedies and Hallmark movies more than like maybe more genres than particular directors, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I mentioned it, I think I can't remember which video we were doing, but I mentioned the fact that Armageddon was the first movie. I think it was
That
one of
would
the
have
on our live streams,
top
maybe.
five movies we're thankful for with Patrick
Oh
being
yeah, yeah,
on
yeah. That was fun.
Thanksgiving,
That was a good one.
Black Friday.
But anyway, yeah, Armageddon was the first movie that I had like a very different response than every all of my friends. I feel like when you have that happens eventually. If you're a movie fan, you're sitting there with your friends, you get got popcorn, everything like that, and they're all loving it, and you're sitting there like, this is terrible. I don't like it
You
at
know,
all.
and I feel like it, and in terms of modern opinion, Zack Snyder and Shyamalan have both released a movie this year, Army of the Dead and Old. I really enjoyed Army of the Dead. I actually saw it on the big screen, and Old was well-intentioned but just a mess. So
Agreed.
again, those are my three holy trinities. And I think I love saying the phrase Michael Bay has two movies in the Criterion Collection, because I swear you hear like a cinephile's head exploding.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But all right. Well, my next pick is one I think I mentioned in maybe that live stream or one of the other live streams. I mentioned on this channel quite a bit is Cinema Paradisio. We did a whole Chicks on Flicks on it. I did a whole analysis just this last month where we talked about for family movie night, and is Belfast the new Cinema Paradisio. And so I don't know if this is really a hidden gem. It's beloved by especially cinemaphiles, but it's a foreign film, so sometimes those don't get as much play. Cinema Paradiso, it's a great movie. It's about this little boy who grows up spending all his time in the movie theater with this man who's the projectionist. And he's thinking back as an adult about his growing up and all the different movies. And the town pastor would make them censor all of the romantic scenes from the movies. And then later on in the movie, before when the man has died, he is left behind a mass film reel with all of the love scenes that have been, and so then they play that, and it's beautiful. It's great, and beautiful music. Ennio Morricone, one of his most iconic scores that he ever did in this movie. So it's a great film. It's maybe a little long at times, but a little drawn out at times, but still, definitely you got to see Cinema Paradiso eventually if you're a film fan. Got to be on the list.
A kid who spends all his time at the movie theater, that just speaks to me.
And I really recommend people check it out in comparison to Belfast, because Belfast is very similar. Belfast is about a little boy in Belfast who is really inspired by the movies and theater in that case, and about his family and everything. So they're two very similar films, and so I think it'd be interesting for people to go and kind of compare the two.
Does Cinema Paradiso have a scene where they all react to Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? Like, whoa, they're flying.
They don't have that movie, but they have lots of similar scenes. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. So what's your next?
So my next choice, I've talked about a lot of action movies here, but I think I'm going to steer away from that and talk about maybe something along your neck of the woods, Rachel. I'm going to be talking about a movie called Book Club. This was released in 2018. I almost didn't see this. However, my mom is a big Diane Keaton fan. I mean, who isn't? Like, she's awesome. And she was like, "Would you want to go see this with me?" And I'm like, sure. Because I guess I still am in the phase where I try and see every movie that I possibly can, at least new release. And I was intrigued to see this because when I was working at my local theater, this movie was hot. Like, it was white hot. And there were literally entire, like, church buses full of people coming to see this. Like, I was working concessions on a Saturday morning, and we had just sold out the book club screening. And the usher, my apologies. The usher, who I knew, walked by and was like, you should check out the book club theater. If you walk up to the top of the stairs and look down, it looks like a field of cotton because all of the people had white hair.
Yeah.
And literally you could not fit another person in there with like Vaseline. Like, the movie was a big deal. And so I finally decided, you know what, I'll check it out. And it was a pleasant surprise. And the movie tells the story about these four friends who get together and they decide to read 50 Shades of Grey. Stay with me, the movie's actually good. And because they read it, they kind of experience a bit of a next chapter in their lives, and they open themselves up to new romances. And this is something that I normally probably would stay far away from. However, I thought the movie was actually fun. I like Diane Keaton, Mary Steenburgen. I always enjoy There's Andy Garcia in here, Craig T. Nelson, always fun to see. Like Don Johnson. I mean, I was like, oh, I know him. I know her. Definitely know her. Alicia Silverstone, weirdly, is in here as Diane Keaton's daughter. And it took me a minute. I'm like, whoa, Batgirl's in this? And I'm like, and I know for some of you are like, clueless. She is clueless. But I have not seen that yet.
Oh my gosh.
But
Right.
I promise. But what the point I'm trying to get at is that I, as like the sci-fi action horror guy, actually quite enjoyed book club. That's the lead here.
Yeah, I enjoyed book club as well. I thought Andy Garcia was super swoon-worthy in it. I
Yes.
really liked him a lot. He was in that same summer. He was in this, and he was in Mamma Mia 2, and he was swoon-worthy in both. So yeah,
Wow.
he was winning me over that summer.
Andy Garcia ages like a fine wine, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just really enjoyed the friendship and the spirit of camaraderie between all the women, and they had really nice chemistry together as friends. You could buy them as friends. So yeah, I really enjoyed book club as well. I thought it was a good time. So my last pick is we are talking about The Duchess. This is from 2008. There's Keira Knightley, and she plays Georgiana Spencer, who is the like grandmother of Diana Spencer, Princess Diana. And it's about how she was in this like terrible relationship where she basically had to like live with her husband's mistress, and they had to kind of share him. And he's Ralph Fiennes. He's terrible. I mean, he's good in it, but his character is terrible. You hate his character. And then she falls in love with Dominic Cooper, I think is who she falls in love with. But and so yeah, it's just a really, in the costumes, I think it won best costume design. The costumes are gorgeous, and it's I love period pieces, so it's right up my alley. And Keira Knightley was like born to play this kind of part. And so, yeah, that's my last choice.
So you say that this woman was the mother of Diana Spencer or related?
No, like Graham, like, because this is from the 18th century, so 1700s, so way back, but in the same. But like some of her life kind of mirrors Diana's life in certain ways, which is interesting. Being unhappy in marriage and also, I mean, like I said, the costumes and the fashion. She was a groundbreaking. She was known. Georgiana was known for her fashion, and so yeah, it's a good movie.
The more we learn about history, the more we learn that it repeats itself.
Yeah, it is pretty spicy. So if you don't like your spicy and your in your romance, then maybe skip this one. But yeah, if you like Bridgerton, then you'll love this. It's kind of very similar to Bridgerton. So what is, you have one more, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what is your last pick?
So my last choice, and this is kind of the one where I'm like, is this really hidden? Because it's the third movie in a very popular franchise, or popular now at least. But I chose to talk about Mission Impossible 3 because I think that with Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Fallout, everybody thinks like, oh, this is Mission Impossible. But people forget that there was 1, 2, and 3 also. Now, 2 is the worst of the series. There's no getting around that. And 1 is actually really good. However, 3 is the most underrated of the entire series. I think it explores Ethan Hunt better than any of the other movies. I think, well, I love the later movies. Ghost Protocol is my favorite and the best one. You heard me. But it's more along the lines of the mission rather than a character study. And I think J.J. Abrams had the good sense to make this a character study. And this never happens in any of the other movies. And I think it was handled about as good as you can do it. When this movie starts, Ethan Hunt is retired. He is seeing a woman played by Michelle Monaghan, and it seems like they're going to be married. However, one of Ethan Hunt's trainees, played by Diane Kruger, basically gets killed. And It turns out it's at the hand of Owen Davian, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is still, by a country mile, the best Mission Impossible villain in the entire series. And this movie has what you would expect in Mission Impossible: stunts on top of stunts, Tom Cruise running a really long distance. Look out for it. If you have not seen it, you will know it. And overall, I think this is probably the best overall story of the series. And I know what I say when I say it, but I think in the later movies, it was focused more on the mission and what crazy things Tom Cruise can do. And while those are impressive, and like I say, Ghost Protocol is my favorite of the series, I think J.J. Abrams should be credited for going outside the box and trying to tell a more human-ish story with regards to Ethan Hunt. There are several scenes in this movie where they're seared into my brain. They are terrifying stuff. Like the opening scene, sheesh, it is like seared into my brain. And the scene where Philip Seymour Hoffman's like, I'm gonna find her and I'm going to hurt her. I'm like, bro, like he's the best villain. Like your you can keep your Sean Harris's, though he's good too. Like it's Philip Seymour Hoffman's supremacy. Like he is the best out of all of them. And just I don't know. I feel like Mission Impossible 3 gets completely overlooked, and I think it's unfair. J.J. Abrams had the gall to try and make Ethan Hunt more of a human being. And for some, that's not really that impressive. But I think for me, it was a very nice try.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I also agree that I think Ghost Protocol is the best of this series. So that's not a hot take on this podcast, at least. I agree with you there. And the third one, I think, does a really good job. It's a very entertaining film. And I agree with you about Philip Seymour Hoffman. I think he is probably the best villain of the series, and does a great job. So yeah, I agree. I really enjoy Mission Impossible 3. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember thinking it was a really fun movie when I did a rewatch a while back.
Yeah, I'm going to go on record right here and right now. In Ghost Protocol, Tom Cruise hung off the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. In Rogue Nation, my apologies, he hung off of an entire airplane. In Fallout, he basically did a halo jump and hung off of a mountain. This man is going to go into space. You can quote me on that.
Please don't go into space.
Tom
I already
Cruise,
experienced it with Fast and Furious, and it was terrible.
Oh God, but Tom Cruise is loony enough to do it. Don't tell me I'm wrong. You know I'm right.
No, I agree. Let's
That
hope
man,
that they.
that man is hiding the fountain of youth from us. Like, seriously. Like he visualized himself in Top Gun and is like, I shall remain like this for my entire life.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe some hair alterations, but other than that, that's it.
At least in Top Gun, it would make somewhat sense for his character and to go into space, not Ethan Hunt, please.
Oh well, Top Gun Maverick's coming out, so you never know.
Yeah, so there we go. Maybe we'll allow them to do that. But yeah, no, I think it's a good pick and a fun action movie. I just think the fourth one, it has I don't know, it's just so entertaining from beginning to end. You never feel bored for a second. It's just boom, 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 boom. So I think that's why it gets the top spot.
It keeps the team on their toes. There's not a second to breathe. Everything malfunctions and they have to think of everything on the fly. One of the best scenes in the entire movie. The Burj Khalifa stuff is awesome. Let's not get that twisted. Tom Cruise is a complete mad lad for hanging off of that thing. But before that, when they realize that their face thing is not working and they realize that they're going to have to go into this big meeting as themselves, it's like, what do we do? Do we just go in as ourselves? And it's like, we're going to have to. They literally have to make this like jazz. They got to improv this. Like in the words of Doctor Strange from the No Way Home trailer, they've got to Scooby-Doo this crap. And Scooby-Doo this crap, they do. And so there are certainly better, I think there are better overall scenes in the later movies, like the opera scene in Rogue Nation and the Halo jump in Fallout. and
Yeah.
the ending of Fallout most certainly. However, complete package overall, Ghost Protocol is the best.
Great. Very good. We did it. Let us know what you have been watching on Paramount Plus. What have you enjoyed? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter. And Ryan, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20, and my YouTube channel, which is just called RyanCam, and a lot of other places, because it feels like I'm going everywhere. I'm doing collabs with Brevin over at Brevin's Flicks and Games for Home Alone as part of my 25 reviews of Christmas. I'm going to be doing the Suit Up Geeks podcast Spider-Man trivia game on Wednesday nights. This will be airing on Friday. So whether or not I win, I'm going to have a good time. I'm going in hoping to be a 4-time champion, so hopefully I will be a 4-time champion, but if not, I had a great time regardless. And I'm going to be up doing my best and worst of the year and my underrated and overlooked videos. And then it's a whole new year with a whole new slate of movies to cover. I've got a podcast coming. I got so much stuff. So follow me on social media if you want more updates. And of course, please subscribe. I'm literally one away from 185. So do check it out.
Yeah, y'all should definitely subscribe. All the information's in the description section. And yeah, make sure you check out the Hallmarkies podcast for more of my holiday reviews. We've got all kinds of great content, interviews, and recaps. And so I'm really proud of our Christmas coverage over there. So please take a look at that, and take a look at the family movie nights also that I've been doing, like when we talked about Cinema Paradisio, and we're doing holiday coverage to Gremlins this week. So that's a lot of fun. Take a look at that. And thanks so much. I always enjoy this. And please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that so much. And also check out the Patreon group. That helps us so much. And then we also have the merch store, which has some really fun designs. So please take a look. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Don't feed the gremlins after midnight.
That's right.